10, 9, ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
And welcome, folks. SEGA live and coming to you after the championship finals. We have wrapped up the 2025 season, but we can assure you that Dujanay Bland over there at the top, opposite of me, and down below David Lancaster, the voice of the Southeast Gas Association, and yours truly, Lee Kraft, a.k.a. the Monday Morning Racer. We're going to continue the SEGA talk right here on SEGA Live. We've got a good show lined up. We're going to be talking with Todd Wimberly, the AFX champion for 2025, the first ever AFX champion in the Southeast Gas Association, and then give a rundown of what we concluded the great championship finals presented by Robbins Repairables that we had at Shadyside Dragway. David, I know you've witnessed many races at Shadyside at this point, but that one has got to rank up there. It was a good race.
It really was. We were blessed with beautiful weather. I mean, all day, and really, it went off without a flaw. I mean, besides Leslie Horn's, accident that he had, I mean, there was no delays or anything. The racing was incredible. B-Gas went right down to the guys that were battling it out for the championship with 15 points between them. They both went to the finals. A dramatic day for Chase Howard and everything that we'll get to in a few minutes. But, yeah, it was an incredible day, and it ranks right up there with those at the top.
Yeah, most definitely. It was great action. And like I said, a lot of the racers really did. They were really putting on a show out there, half-track burnouts, guys, really just giving it their all and giving a great show to those fans who poured out there this past weekend.
Yeah, Dujanay, you arguably had one of the best seats in the house. You got to see the action down there right near the stripe, and there was some great racing, and you were able to get that on film for the live and also for later productions. So good job, and you had a good seat.
Yeah, man, it sure was. That's one of the perks, I guess. You see it, but you don't see it because you're so focused on trying to get the best shot possible. But, yeah, man, it's pretty good to see those cars come through, and the racing is just so close.
You did a great job. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, David.
I wanted to compliment you too as well, Dujanay. I mean, getting a chance to rewatch the live. I mean, you were on it down there, and you had a great seat, especially tracking Leslie Horn and a lot of those other cars, and Barry Lynn with his 8th mile burnout. So it really just made for a total successful day.
Super excited about that.
Well, who had a successful year in AFX? That's Todd Wimberly. We're going to take a break right here, switch gears. Again, the official 4-speed of the Southeast Gassers Association is from G-Force Racing Transmissions. We're so thankful to have them supporting SEGA. And Roby Myrick, thank you also for your support to the media team. We appreciate that. And all the guys want you to know that they are very thankful for your support. So we'll take a break, and right after the break, Todd Wimberly, the AFX 2025 champion, will be with us live right after this word from Reese Motorsports Insurance.
Larice Motorsports Insurance offers drag racers the broadest insurance policies in the industry. Larice Motorsports Insurance was created by racers for racers. Larice insures race cars on and off the track, trailers and equipment. Larice even pays racers contingencies at the fling bracket races. Don't wait until it's too late. Call Larice Motorsports Insurance today.
Right now, with us, we've got Todd Wimberly. How's it going, Todd?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. What a weekend for you to cap off the season. You had 5 wins of the 8 races on the season. That car really had been cooking all season long, and it really kind of was a big crescendo for you there at Shadyside at the World Finals.
Yeah, it was. I want to thank the Lord for the blessing to be able to do this. My wife, Wimberly Racing, the crew, Dad, Brad, Larry, Ray, LWA for the power, and we just saw a G-Force commercial. Roby and G-Force. These races are won in the shop, not at the track. So this isn't about me. This is about everybody, the whole crew and the whole team. This is a Wimberly Racing Championship, and so I'll say that I don't really believe in luck. I think you make your own luck, and that's a lot of hard work that creates that. And the car was flawless really all year. We only had one little issue. I think it was the second race. We had one little line lock issue that nobody could have seen coming. That hurt us in the semifinals. I think it was. Alan won that race, but other than that, we had a great year. Fantastic. The car, we didn't have anything mechanical, happen at the track. We just kept working on it, and the car got faster and faster all year.
You really did. And a testament to that is when you had a prior obligation and you let Daniel Haynes step into the car in Knoxville there. The car didn't miss a beat. I think it was Knoxville. And,
it was.
And he took it right to victory lane. So, the preparation that Wimberly Racing put into that, really paid off.
Yeah. And we talked to him about that. Last season, we weren't going to run the whole season. And then they, talked about AFX being a points, an official class. So we said, well, let's see how it shakes out. And we won that first race. And then we decided, well, we're not going to make Knoxville. So let's put Daniel in the car. And he drove the car at Shelby. First time he ran it, it was decent. I told him, I said, just run it like you run yours, go out and send it. And he did, and put down a great pass and ended up winning the race for us. And so I can't thank them enough. Daniel, Kim, Mary Beth, the whole Haynes family, great friends of ours. And it was unreal when he called me and said, man, we won the whole thing. And I said, I tell you what, y'all keep the trophy. That's yours. You earned it. And that helped us. Once that happened, we had we felt really good about the season going forward.
Tell us a little bit about and give those people of the Wimberly crew a shout out of who really helped you and was a big part of you being able to win the championship this year.
So our dad, Beaver, everybody knows him by, he owns both cars, and he's owned all our race cars. We've gone from go-karts to oval track stock cars to road course cars, and now we're running drag cars, and he's always owned the team. And then of course, Brad crews my car, I crew Brad's car. We're brothers. And then Larry and Ray Malden have always helped us out, friends of Dad's, and they're brothers and great mechanics. And so we've always kind of been the core team. And then of course I mentioned we've got Rob Walden building our engines now, and Roby on the transmission. So that's kind of the core group. And then we've got all the wives and kids behind us too.
Well, we talk about the Southeast Gasser family, and it's great when you can bring your own nuclear family with you as well and share that time together while you're in the pits, in between in the lanes and things of that nature. But you guys have embraced that to the hilt here and made yourself somewhat of a formidable team, in winning this championship. And in Brad's competitive level has risen so much in his time, in his seat time. You guys are going to be something to be dealt with in 2026.
Yeah, that's the plan. We're going to kind of park the Falcon for a little while. I'm going to be doing some tech stuff, and we're going to move. I'll go ahead and announce this. We're going to move to B-Gas with Brad's car, and we've got a combination put together that we're going to go after it. We think all the work we've done in SEGA with it. We figured some stuff out, and we're gonna go after it in big gas. I think we got something figured out for it, and I think we're gonna be competitive there. And I won't say that we're gonna win a championship, but we're gonna look out for us in big gas.
Big news right there coming out of the Wimberly camp. That is hey, the water's deep and it's awfully warm in that big gas. I'm telling you what.
It's tough. Yeah.
And, you're talking about the combination that you put together. I don't know if you want to divulge any of that, but my first question is, I'm seeing a lot more mechanically fuel injected cars in B gas. Is that something that you guys are going to aim for or not?
Yep, we're gonna stick with the mechanical injection, and we've been working with, LWA builds the engines in in Brad's car also, and we've been talking a lot this season about cubic inch and weight, and where we want to be with that car, and I think we've got something figured out.
What are some of the differences between that those two classes that which will that you have to make adjustments on to get that car ready for B gas?
We got to take a lot of weight out of it. But percentage wise, I think we can keep everything close. And we actually, during the season, we've kind of calculated the lead that we've got in it and the things that we need to do. Y'all have heard that aluminum blocks are going to be legal in B gas in 2026. That's going to help us get there. We're talking about going to a magnesium case on the transmission as opposed to aluminum. So those things are going to help us get the weight down, but keep the percentages close to what they are now. So I think the car is going to work like it works now. We just got to get it lighter for B gas, and we can run a little bit more cubic inch.
Wow. Big news. I mean, like we said, I always try to explain, we are weight per cubic inch. So you're going from a 10 pound per cubic inch class to an 8 pound per cubic inch class, thus putting the car, as we say, on a diet. But what I liked what you said was there's a lot of other things that have to go into that. Everybody can build a motor that makes a ton of horsepower and all this stuff, but we're learning more and more the value of a guy named like Brian Harris or a Scotty Cannon helping out on a car, Quayne Stott, that has that experience with the older shocks and things of that nature to actually get that to the ground.
Correct. Yeah, and that's something we've learned on Brad's car. We've learned some stuff about shocks that I think we're gonna, and I'm not gonna divulge what we learned, but we've actually made a mistake and learned something really big on shocks. And I think we're going to be able to use that to our advantage going into next season. It's kind of the opposite direction of what we thought with the shocks. And I think that's going to help us. But you're right. It's anybody can build the horsepower. Now we're getting down to really tuning the cars.
Y'all heard it here first. That's G14 classified. So, that's not something you're going to ever hear him say or talk about. So just letting you know that right now. You can dream about it though. Man, Todd, throughout the season, and we've seen a lot of different competitors who are champions this year really kind of put things together race by race. At what point did you feel like that you had a shot at this thing at being the first ever AFX champion?
I felt good after Daniel won. Well, I felt like we had a shot. But what was interesting is you try to tell yourself you're not going to do anything different. You're not going to think about the points. And Brad and I would talk almost every day, when it got down to where, okay, we're leading. Are we going to do anything different? Let's try just to go and do the same thing that we've always done to get us there. But you don't do that. And anybody that says that they can do that, I don't know if they're being truthful with themselves, because we started doing things we'd never done before. We quit running on Friday night. We had always tested 1 or 2 runs on Friday night with both cars. Well, we parked the Falcon on Friday night just because you start thinking about what benefit is that to run it. It might tell you a little bit, but the downside of that is if you have some kind of terminal failure Friday night, you're done for Saturday. So it starts weighing on you a little bit more than you think it does. You feel like you've got a good shot at it, but we in AFX is kind of interesting because you got guys like Gordon Rundle that we knew was going to come out and his car was going to be fast. Now he ended up having some issues. You had Randy Jensen that bought Peffley's car. That's a fast car. You got the Wild and Woolly, doesn't run every race, but he comes out. And so any of those guys can really throw a wrench in the whole points thing. So, we would talk about it a lot and try to figure out where are we points wise and what are we going to do to try to get a little bit of a lead or at least minimize the damage. And I hate to say that you start thinking that way, but you do, and there's no way around it. You just start thinking about the points, and it really weighs on you. And I got to tell you, when it came down to Gulfport, we were able to win those both races. It was such a relief. It's almost like I almost couldn't even really celebrate in Shelby because it was such a relief after Gulfport to think we may have this wrapped up.
Yeah, that has to be something that's big. And, we've seen a lot of cars this year in the test and tune session develop issues and have to make big changes sometimes. And I'm sure for you in that time frame, you probably feel like because of the conditions that 9 times out of 10 we face in that test and tune, they're really not applicable to what you're going to be facing on race day. So sure, you're doing a little bit of a shakedown, but you're likely unlike only this year or at the end of this year with Shadyside did we experience some of the cool conditions that we felt on Friday during that test session. But other than that, the rest of the year, it was pretty much sun on the track and very hot. So you don't really get to learn too much on a Friday other than just shaking the car down.
That's right. Yeah, you don't learn enough. It's not worth the risk, I guess, once you get in a points battle, because too much can go wrong. You're right. And so you just kind of have to weigh that out. Even though we've always done that, we decided we're just not going to do it anymore. And I think we quit doing that. We probably quit running on Friday night after Knoxville.
So if you're not running on Friday night, working, to see the fruits of your work in the shop, when do you guys go test? If so, where do you test? And how do you judge if your moves are right in the shop?
We don't test. No, with 2 cars and everybody working, we don't test. We just keep a lot of notes and make calculated guesses and then see if it works out at the track.
Well, that makes sense. That makes
sense. So, Todd, the word on the street is that the old Southern Comfort is up for sale.
Yep, that's true. We made the decision that focusing on the big guy, what will be the big guy's car, and then me doing tech next season, it was just going to be way too difficult to run 2 cars and do tech and focus on the big ass car. So we're gonna put it up for sale, focus on the big ass car and do tech.
So Todd, I got to ask you, if someone doesn't meet your number and someone doesn't take the Southern Comfort for themselves, would you bring it out again in 2026, or is that something that you're going to purposefully shelf in the first part of the year?
I guess if it didn't sell and, depending on how it's going with Brad's car, we might run it on a limited basis. At one time, we were going to put Robbie in it, but now he's going to be in the Dixie Twister next year. So that's kind of why we decided just to sell it. So, yeah, I mean, if it doesn't sell, I would probably run it some, or maybe put somebody in it to see it out there.
Well, we definitely like to see it because that car definitely is a winner as you come through with the championship this year. That smile you gave us in Victory Lane down at Gulfport, and then again with back-to-back at Shadyside, talk to the fans about how that feels to be in the midst of a points championship and to know that you got it sewn up, and the relief and the smile that you feel.
It is a relief. I mean, you don't want it to be over because you're having so much fun with it, but the pressure is more than I thought it would be, because I really wanted to win it. I wanted to win it not just for me, but I really wanted to win it for Dad. Because he puts a lot into these cars, and I told Brad, I said I would love to get a championship for him. And then that starts weighing on you a little bit, because you don't want to screw it up. All these guys work so hard in the shop, and I'm just the guy behind the wheel, and there's a lot that can go wrong on the track, when that pressure starts working on you, and you don't want to let them down. So, yeah, the more because, we're racing some, Alan, Rob, like I said, Wild, all those cars, AFX is not a big class, but all the cars are fast. So, you start realizing, man, if I mess up, in qualifying, I could lose a tremendous amount of points here. So that pressure not to mess up started weighing on me more than I thought it would. So it was almost, I hadn't really celebrated yet. It's more like a relief right now, that we did it, and we got it. It's taken a while for me to like realize, okay, we actually won the championship. It was just such a relief after we had it, if that makes sense.
Well, it certainly does make sense, and congratulations to you once again on your 2025 championship in AFX, a first within the Southeast Gassers Association. That is very cool. Well, we also certainly look forward to what you and John are going to be doing in the off-season in the tech department. Can anything be revealed of some of the intention, some of the talk for the tech department looking forward into 2026?
I don't know if I can really reveal anything yet. We're getting a lot of input from the racers, and we like that. Our goal in 2026 is, so I think I can say this. So SEGA grew really fast. You guys know that. This thing really grew, and it started out as a bunch of friends racing together, and you didn't really have to have a tech department per se, and it kind of outgrew tech. And so everybody feels like we went through a little bit of a period where we didn't have quite what we needed as far as the tech department goes. And I feel like for John and I, we are trying to, I hate to say tighten up on things, but we want a level playing field. That's all anybody wants, right? And so that's our goal, is to it just enhance what was already started. The Peffleys had it. It was growing fast then, and then Sammy and John had it. They did a great job with it, and John and I are kind of continue and try to do better. We're just trying to learn from every situation and try to be as fair as we can. There's always decisions that people don't like, but we are trying our best to be as fair as we can and make the right decisions going forward. Rocky supports us as the race director. Leslie and Wayne, it's a great group to work with, and everybody should have confidence that we're doing our best to put together a fair rules package to try to get, diversity in there with different combinations, different cars, which is not easy to do, but to be as fair as we can with the tech department. That's our goal.
Well, that should be fun, and that is going to take a lot of work. That is not easy to keep things, fair, and you have to kind of set aside a little bit, because at the end of the day you're not going to make everybody happy, but those changes should be able to make things and keep the parity within Southeast Gassers Association.
That's right. You're not going to make everybody happy, and that's just something that you have to make the hard decisions sometimes, but to be fair, that's what you have to do.
So we're not allowing automatics in, right?
We are not. We are not. You are correct.
But, you hit on something that's very big, especially with the super stock class, with the 7-inch tire, some people like the bigger motors, the bigger cars, the smaller things, a lot of different combinations in the way people want to build their race cars, and then making sure that they fit into parameters of the Southeast Gasser rules.
Yeah, and that's hard to do. And we're really, like even H-gas is tough because you've got so many different combinations there. At least in super stock and AFX and A, B, and C, they're all V8s. But my goodness, H-gas, that's going to be tough. You got 4 cylinders, 6 cylinders, flatheads, all different combinations. So working through that is always difficult. And that's why we do have that clause in there that, we can adjust as we go to any dominant combination, because there's no way to know it all. And we don't claim to. We're learning as we go. And these racers are smart, and they constantly come up with things and combinations and parts. And we just have to look at that as we go. But we have made a commitment. We're going to try to get the 2026 rules out by Thanksgiving. Now, that's going to be tough to do because there's a lot of adjustments, but we're working hard to get those out.
Well, Todd, look, we're looking forward to 2026 in all capacities with you, whether it's tech department, whether it's that car stepping up to B-gas, or what very well might happen with the Southern Comfort, whether it's sold or not. Man, rent that thing out and get it in competition. We need more AFX cars out there, and hopefully have a full contingency next year. With that being said, any rumblings of more AFXers out there? I know we saw Gordon Rundle once. He had major issues. We've seen Randy Jensen, Jeffrey Ferguson. I know they'll be back out once things are repaired, but are we edging any closer to the possible 8-car field at least?
Yeah, Sean's got a car he's working on. He helps Rob with his superstock car. I'm not sure how close he is with it, but I do know he's working on one, which would be the 8th car if we could get him out there.
All right. Well, 2026 shaping up to be a good one, and 2025 was certainly a good one for you. Congratulations on a championship effort, Todd and team.
Thank y'all. Dujanay, Lee, David, thank all y'all for having me.
Take care, man. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Well, several champions in the Southeast Gassers Association. We'll be talking with each and every one of them as we're able to get them on, and do so as we just did with Todd Wimberly. David, a first in SEGA, first ever AFX champion. AFX has been out there for a long time with the Southeast Gassers Association, and for a long time it was, Rocky and Allen and the match racing, and people continue to build cars, and here it is. It's now in a championship category, and we've crowned a first in SEGA. It's always special to do that.
It really is, and I don't know if we would be to this point if it wasn't for a man who raced with us, who's now gone on to glory. His name's Sonny Hall, out of the Bristol, Tennessee area. He commissioned Kelvin Cannon to build both of those cars, the Georgia Shaker 3 and the Dixie Twister, with the permission of the Platt family, Alan and Rocky, to pay honor to their fathers. And it was, like you said, just an exhibition match race to tell about the history of the Platt family, and the guys were just loving doing it. And now it is involved into a class. Now we got a first champion, and as he said, we're on the cusp of having a full 8-car field, for every event. So it's really grown exponentially.
Yeah, that's really cool to see the history that's out there between the Platt family, and then see the maturation process of this class. And it's really nice to see the growth and the potential here with the AFX class. It's really, really a fun class. And I'm a methanol junkie, so I love the smell of methanol. So yeah, man, this is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to seeing what 2026 brings.
Dujanay, mentioning the methanol, I looked down from the tower the other day, and Alan was clearing out the injectors there on the Georgia Shaker 3 and shot a big blue flame out of there about that long. And I was like, now that was just cool, man, because it was right at dusk, and that flame really, I mean, I saw some people oohing and ahhing over it and pointing at it. So
Yeah.
I had to make a comment that, yes, they run on methanol. They're not a gasser, so you can see that. But it was really cool.
It was.
They are neat machines. What a neat in drag racing that now you can see what those cars evolve to the very modern day at the highest levels of the sport in the funny car. But AFX representing a special time in drag racing, just as all of the Southeast Gassers Association is doing, representing a great, even golden period of drag racing, 1967 and earlier, with the Gassers, with the early funny cars that we understand as factory experimental. And it fits so well at Shadyside Dragway. And we had yet again another great race there. A great championship final was presented by Robbins Repairable. David, look, before we take a break and talk directly on the race itself, Robbins Repairables, a big supporter of the Southeast Gassers Association, and you personally interact with them and use their products. Share with us about Robbins Repairables.
Well, Robbins Repairables is owned by Marty and Terry Robbins. They have an extensive parts inventory there. They have a junkyard as well, but what they do is they purchase a lot of vehicles that are salvage titles and things like that. That might be minor hits, adjustable type things that they can work on. To even seeing some vehicles come in there that are just the whole rear end of a dually is just smashed off of it, but the whole motor and the 6.7 diesel and everything's great. They disassemble these things. They use what they can. They straighten what they can. And me personally, I bought an automobile from them. I bought a 2023 Honda Ridgeline truck from them, and I couldn't have afforded to go buy that truck brand new. But with the price that I was, that they offered it to me at, I was a little bit hesitant because I'd never bought a salvage title vehicle. And, I bought it at 3,800 miles. I've got 52,000 miles on it now, chasing the Southeast Gassers around. And it's been flawless. Haven't had to have it in the shop for nothing but oil changes and a set of tires. I mean, they do a tremendous job there. And like I said, if you're looking for something to go on a vehicle that you have, maybe you want to accessorize and find a fancier wheel or something of that nature, or you just need one obscure part, go online to robbinsrepairables.com and use the drop down arrows, and you can put in what you're looking for, the make, model, and you can find it pretty much right there with them.
Love the sound of a gasser banging through the gears as it makes a pass? Do you want that same feeling in your street car or truck? We've got the exhaust systems and parts that bring that iconic rumble straight from the golden age of drag racing. With a QuickTime Performance electronically controlled exhaust system, you can have race car loud with the flip of a switch or a push of a button. Give your ride that gasser sound it deserves.
Back here on SEGA Live, that word from QuickTime Performance. Barry Adler got the Iron Eagle out there at SEMA.
Yeah.
The owner of the Southeast Gassers Association, Leslie Horn's out there as well. We had him last night on the Competition Plus Power Hour. Good to have that representation there at SEMA. Hopefully something very fruitful comes from it. Shadyside, the de facto home for the Southeast Gassers Association, yet another great event. And they packed that place in. I've got some photos from Adam Dobbs, who's been shooting for the Southeast Gassers Association many times this year. And what a tremendous crowd we had there at Shadyside.
Yeah, they were all the way down the 8th mile. Stands were packed. They were all the way down the 8th mile on the hill. It was great. It was great. Great crowd, and they were in it. They were involved, and it was really cool to see, and a great way to close out the 2025 season.
There's a great shot. I mean,
yes.
I've watched the evolution of Shadyside Dragway for our events, and that event there was not the best attendance we've ever had, believe it or not, but a very, very, I mean, probably a top 3 for us. But I love what they did in planning out their stands that they added, the bleachers that went on. They basically built them on top of the ones that they had, and it elevated the fan so they could get a better view, and it also helped for people that are handicapped or have physical limitations. They took out the return road that used to go right in front of that, so people can sit there, and the people who are in the stands are not blocked by the people sitting in their chairs. So it enabled us to get more and more people to that starting line area that is so popular. And the way that they thought that out and did that was really, really impressive to me.
Yeah, it really was.
Yes. Yeah, they've done a good job. They've really looked at their facility, what they've got to work with, and made some really good decisions to enhance the facility and the property. You know, you go to Shadyside, I feel like you still get the same feel, but they've made it better.
Yeah.
They've enhanced it without detracting from it, and that is tough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so many times you may see a complete renovation of something and people come in and they're like, well, this is great, but I remember how it was, and there's a quaintness and a homeliness to it, and they miss it just a little bit. Shadyside has struck that balance, and we know that the Buffs are going to continue to make improvements and continue to bring that facility forward because, yes, we count it as home. The Southeast Gassers go in there and, 2 times a year here recently, and great shows. But Shadyside is not known just for SEGA. They also have many other great events. So they are doing a tremendous job in the economy of drag racing in North Carolina. And it's fascinating, but yet it's true. Down the road in the big city, if you will, you've got ZMAX Dragway, the Bellagio of drag strips. And in some regards, it may be lesser known than a little old Shadyside because Shadyside has the history and has these major events for it and of its size and of its location impacting drag racing in its own way.
And a lot of that comes from the devotion, the passion that the Buff family puts into that. I mean, they're going on their 4th generation of Buffs running that racing facility, and those Zach and Seth Buff, along with Bryson and Ronnie Buff, they do a tremendous job of preparing a racetrack, a racing surface that might give them a little bit of a problem somewhere else. They've seen it all there, and they know how their track responds to weather and everything, and it just makes their shows go so much better. But they got a racetrack under me. Lyle Barnett's been down there and went some record passes in some radial cars. I mean, some really, really nice stuff on some small tires.
Yeah, and shout out to them too, the customer service and how they treat their fans. Very personable. The ladies were very warm and welcoming, and it means a lot. You know what I mean? When we think of things like that, we automatically, our minds go right to the Bader family, and there are so many people that are out here that are following that type of a model, and it doesn't sound like it means a lot, but it really does. And they do take care of the fans, the concessions that they have, the pickle man that they have out there. All those things make up, a great experience for, the fan. And when they have a great experience on top of having a great show, they're more than willing to come back no matter what the ticket price may be.
Well, the racing action. I am curious, David, from where you were atop the tower, peering over and down, than where you were, Dugenais, atop the bed of my truck looking back. You two seeing the action from two different vantage points. What were some of the top moments for each of you? Dugenais, I'll start with you. What are some races? What are some passes? What are some moments that you recall? And look, I know Leslie. We'll talk about Leslie in a moment. That's obviously that's a moment that we're all like, oh. But what are some ones that people might have missed that stick in your mind?
I like the moment of the Little Red Wagon with that long burnout. He had a long burnout during qualifying. That Joker was like almost full track, and they were both running strong. I like the final. I like the final and the semifinal before. The final with Chase Howard, and then the semifinal before, where two guys did get disqualified, and the guy that got disqualified first gets to get back in the race because of technicality in the rule book. So that was really good. I really enjoyed the show that the racers put on. That's what I noticed from being down track and watching everything from the burnout to them staging and running. We talk about putting on a show and going out there and doing something memorable to like get the fans to like out. They may not remember that pass and what the ET was, but they will remember you for a burnout, a wheel stand. Though every racer was letting it all hang out on Saturday, and you could feel that energy, not just in qualifying, but all the way through. And those are some of the things that I remember. I think my biggest moment, though, is what I like is I am very, very happy that the racers leaned in to the Halloween trunk or treat for those kids. Shout out to the Joker and his wife. I mean, that was an absolute awesome costume. And then you have Diana Casto and her husband in the chicken suit. I mean, they really leaned in to what that night was all about. And I couldn't have been more proud to see that. And I'm sure it went over well with the fans and especially those kids.
Well, Dugenais, I couldn't agree with you more. That speaks to the family. Todd Wimberly talked about his family and their involvement. When I coined the phrase "the Southeast Gasser family," that's what it's about. Having a laugh. I never thought that Leah would dress up as the Joker for her husband in the Joker. I know that may sound, well, that's obvious, David, but I never thought she would. I thought she would dress in a different way, but it was so awesome. And, even our fans who follow the Southeast Gassers, who come to every race, Bones and Carl Claymore is his name, and many others that I'm leaving out. They brought and set up trunk or treats for the kids. And, it goes back to that element of it for me in one regard, just like you mentioned, the family, the fun, and I've told you guys, if you leave a Southeast Gasser event hungry or thirsty, it's your own fault. Because there's so many people around there that just love to, hey, would you like a water? Would you like a burger? Hey, we've got a vegetable soup over here. It's getting a little chilly. Whatever the case may be, they give it to you. Now, moving to the on-track action, I love the fact that B-Gas lived up to everything that we thought it would this year. You go down to Gulfport, Mississippi, Ted McKee wins on Friday night. Ken Rainwater goes out a little earlier. I think he might have went out second round. Then comes back on Saturday's race, and Ted McKee loses in first round. He qualifies like number 16. I mean, that's uncharacteristic for Ted McKee. It's like he unloaded a different vehicle on Saturday than Friday. tightening the points up to 15 points. And he's trying his best to beat Rainwater. Well, they get to Shadyside for our finals. Rainwater is not trying to coast and protect and play shadow games to win by 5 points or 15 points or whatever the case may be. He goes out there. He sets a new elapsed time record for B-gas. He's doing God knows how high of a wheel stand, shifting into second gear before the front wheels come down hardly, and they raise back up, putting on an absolute show. And the whole time he is creating elapsed time. He's going rounds, #1 qualifier. And Ted McKee is definitely hot on his heels. He got all his stuff straightened out. Found out what McKee's problem was. They had a something in their carburetor, and I cannot remember the technical term, had fallen down in there at Gulfport. And they said it was the rarest type of thing that could have happened. They just never heard of it. But he gets all his stuff straightened out at Shadyside, and he is dead set for any stumble that Rainwater had. But Rainwater didn't stumble. He didn't protect the lead. He went out there and took the championship by the throat and let everybody know that 2025 was his year.
Yeah, that he did. B-Gas was a great show all year. And, yeah, Rainwater, you got to commend him. Again, didn't play it safe. As you pointed out, went out there and threw it all down. And, you know, he comes away with a win at the end of the day and a championship. He had a very successful season. And I know that they have to be almost, I'm sure they've got a sense of relief that they're like back on top. You know, for a long time, watching the Southeast Gassers Association, Ken was that threat, but they would admit they kind of lost something. They lost a little bit of a step. And this year, they found everything they needed, and they're that championship threat. And they showcase that all year. And what a great class with B-Gas. Obviously, Ted McKee, how strong he is. You know, I would love to have seen what Shadyside would have looked like with a Charlie Lee having participated the entire season. That would have been tremendous because he shows up at, you know, Brainerd and gets a win, and he gets another win on the season later on. He was in a couple more finals. I mean, he was a strong competitor. So you've got that class. You have people stepping up, and you have people step up. And we say it all the time that the competition is tight. B-Gas might have the title of the tightest.
Most definitely.
You could see that, and it's been an entertaining one to watch all year long with the ebbs and flows of it. You're right. I mean, some people just can't make every event, but you know, just for Charlie Lee to make the pull to Gulfport this year was huge for him. You know, he come out the winner on Saturday's event, and that got him up there. A man of few words, but he lets that motor do the talking for him in that Mustang. He really does.
Yeah.
He does.
How about Bradley Stott coming out there and, you know, couldn't race all the races, came out there. The way he was driving and the way that car was running before, you know, we really saw Ken Rainwater look like he was throwing haymakers. It really like he had a shot at winning. I mean, the boy can drive, and it was really nice to see him out there, but it was really nice to see him out there in the car just performing well. If and when he can race every race, he's going to be a tough customer.
Yeah, you know, Dujanay, I couldn't agree with you more. I think I might be wrong on this. I haven't checked my notes. I think he just bookended the season. He just ran the 2 Shadyside races, if I'm not mistaken. He won the first one, and like you said, he come out there and was not far off of McKee or Rainwater in qualifying at 17 years old. You know, If I got a car that I'm looking for a driver, he's definitely on my list because he has no fear at all.
No, he ran South Georgia and both Shady sides.
Okay.
And won the first Shady side.
First, South Georgia Motorsports Park. He won South Georgia Motorsports.
Oh, that's where that was. My fault.
Yeah. He had a issue in testing, in particular at Shadyside. They had to do some repairs, but did get it back out in eliminations and failed to. I don't recall who, but Ken Rainwater actually won both Shadyside events this year. That's really the event that just propelled Ken from then on. I mean, Ken, though the competition was tough, Ken just seems like he had that little bit of a chip, if you will, all year, especially after that Shadyside event, because Briley, wasn't there, and we kind of started at the end of last season and the beginning of this season. I really feel like BGAS, the storyline was, look at these young guns, Michael Oden, Briley Stott, and how they were performing and what they were doing. And by the end of it, we're like, look at these old geezers jumping back up there and, taking away. Sorry, Ken, you're not an old geezer. Ted, no, you're not, man. These drivers, they are wily, they're veterans, and they know what they're doing. So you've got, youth and Ubrance, and you've got age and treachery, if you may put it that way. And what a great combination we've got in BGAS all the way around. And it just goes to show you, too, that Southeast Gassers Association drag racing isn't for just a bunch of old folks. I look at the stands at somewhere like Shadyside Dragway. There's young people there. There's plenty of young people there. And you look in the ranks of drivers, there's plenty of young drivers out there. And there's young backup ladies. It's really a great spectrum of people associated with the Southeast Gassers Association. And certainly we live in a time where people love to say that drag racing is dead. If you just look at a Southeast Gassers Association event, you'll see it's not dead. No way, shape, or form or fashion.
Nah, it is very much moving forward and continuing to grow. And you can see that with Southeast Gassers Association, just the amount of new faces and those who, I met a guy this past weekend, and he was like, last year, they made one and they made the effort. I believe they made 4 or 5 events this year. So they made the effort to be there and not miss it. That's how much they were impressed by what's going on here. And, like you said, with the mixture of a great nucleus of drivers here, the competitiveness and the close racing, I think you can't get any better than that. And then to have it be setting back into the 60s and these cars and what these drivers and the time that they spend in, just also the look of the car, it is something. It is something. You kind of step back in time when you come to the Southeast Gassers Association event.
Gentlemen, I couldn't have summed it up any better. And I think that, Lee, going to your comment of the spectrum of people that we see at our events is only enhanced by our social media presence and by our live feeds, our reels that are being put out there this year. And I couldn't think that someone in marketing wouldn't want to get the demographic coverage that we have. I mean, from old to young. I mean, it is really taken off.
It has. I think Chris Barrett with Frank Stein's Garage, he has done a great job with a lot of real production. And then Stephen Smith, he has had a presence over the social media on Facebook and Instagram for a very long time. He built something that's a great platform for it to grow. And folks, it has grown. I don't know if you pay attention to the numbers, but this year it started out, if I remember correctly, around 144,000 followers on Facebook. And we're at 177,000 followers on Facebook now. So with reels from Chris, with lives such as this, with a couple of raw footage reels that I've put out and things of that nature, people doing a team effort to grow Southeast Gassers Association drag racing on these platforms, that's been a reality. And we have seen that. And I can tell you that my experience, and when I say experience, that's working with things such as Hot Rod Magazine and Drag Week, that's Funny Car Chaos, Nitro Chaos, and that's also the NHRA, and I could go on. That the fact is, live streams sell over tape delay products.
Yep.
It's just a reality. And that's one reason why there was that move to go to a live stream. Hopefully we're able to bring on more marketing partners for that. And with the live streams, they're more challenging than you may realize. I knew it going in, but every track is different. Like, okay, Shadyside, for example, folks. You may notice the last 45 minutes on Friday night, there was no audio from David. Well, there was an issue with the way in which I usually get the audio from the announcer that was not jiving well with the PA system at Shadyside. Brand new issue. Never run into that one before. Went and got the necessary cables and converters from a music store. Boom. Next day, had the audio from David. And it is a continual moving target. And as learning, we'll be able to improve. Like, I go back, Knoxville, the test and tune night, terrible. It looked terrible. I trusted the track internet, and though it had great download, it had terrible upload speed. That's no fault to Knoxville. I even pulled out the Starlink and tried to change things, but once you're kind of locked in, you're locked in. And to be able to have a better product on Saturday, that literally meant going to the local Ace Hardware and buying a flagpole to stick the Starlink on. So you have to just troubleshoot and figure out things, and it is like tuning a car. Every track is different, and the notebook has got to be developed. So they will continue to improve and will enhance the product. But with what Dugenet was able to do with his on-camera work, along with others such as Tristan Triac and Jacob McLeod assisting at times too, and Chris Barrett also doing the reels, and him manning a starting line camera from time to time, tremendous work. And I think overall teamwork gets the job done even more so than just a single individual, and a concerted effort to push SEGA forward is over time going to continue to make it a premier league within motorsports, and people know it. I don't think Southeast Gassers Association people realize that there are other racing series that have a longer history, that participate in bigger stages, honestly, yet don't have the following that SEGA has.
Yeah.
So what has been done in the past, great foundation, and going to continue to build on it. And, my expectation is by the time we roll around next year and we start Southeast Gassers Association drag racing in 2026, that like Facebook alone, I expect we could be at 250,000 plus followers rolling into next season. And that is a good thing.
Definitely. It's very good. And, like I said it on the Not Bland show. I said it on the Competition Plus. We're here to work for you. We're looking to put you guys on display and push this whole entire entity forward and into new height. The product is there. You guys do an excellent job, and Shadyside was one of those things where guys and gals were putting on a show from the starting line to the finish line. And this is going to be good. It's going to be good for everybody, and we are happy to be able to provide this service for Southeast Gassers Association, and it's only going to get bigger next year. I can feel it.
So let's talk about Leslie Horn, Chase Howard. the tightest championship battle that we had going into Shadyside, a 5-point difference around. And I don't know about you two, but I was really expecting that we'd probably have a Leslie Horn, Chase Howard final. And that is not how it turned out. It turned out to be that, well, Leslie Horn turned into the wall. And that is something that I think all of us would not have had on our bingo card. Certainly in racing, anything can happen, but Leslie, even when that car is out of control, usually has control of his hot rod. But that one got away from him, and I don't think anybody could have handled it any better. But you have a situation that puts on display that these competitors are just that. They are competitors, and they are racing these old cars, and they are getting it done.
Yeah. And I didn't know this either. I wasn't aware until Leslie mentioned it last night. But I don't think a lot of people realize that the wall is not out. The wall, you can still use the wall and still win. You only are disqualified if you cross the center line. So that's why he stayed in it, because he knew what was at stake. It was huge. It was really something to see those guys trade blows back and forth. Chase gets 5. He's like, nope, I'm going to get 5. I'm still keeping it close. And he knew what was on the line. And I knew between those two, if they had an issue, they were not going to lift. There was no lifting because that championship was on the line, and both of them were really hungry to get that thing. And it made for great action and great racing, all day long. It was something to watch.
Well, Dugenay, you're right about that. I've seen Kenneth Phillips at Knoxville Dragway actually climb the wall in the right lane, come off of there, grab second gear, and go on to a win in a final. And it's happened numerous times. Donovan Stott's done it down at Brainerd. So the wall is definitely not out of play, and it does add a element of excitement if someone gets on that and makes the finals or wins that race, that matchup. So, but it was a great final, and you gotta look at it this way. From my perspective, the USA 1 team and Chase Howard would not be denied in 2025. They know nothing but giving it their all. I know these other guys do too. Rainwater, and that's what makes it. That's what makes drag racing, and it makes our association great. But Chase Howard rolls his car, just a rollover at Knoxville in the finals. And in 21 days, we're racing again in Gulfport. And he hadn't shaken down the car. He hadn't done anything but just work on the car. I mean, they had the car on a chassis, a frame jig for 4 days, trying to straighten it and everything. What does he do when he gets to Gulfport? Right off the trailer, he sends it. And the beautiful leave, wheels up, everything. Ends up winning that race, Those guys just kept on and kept on and kept on and kept on relentlessly. I didn't see Leslie overtaking it. I really did not.
I'm with you on that. I didn't see it either. What was wild about that is this: he rolls it, but the car comes back faster than it was before he rolled it.
Yeah,
and he set an elapsed time record right there in Gulfport.
Right. Well, as jokingly I've stated and others have, you go back in Chase's history. He has the wreck in Ohio. They get the car back. It's quicker and faster. They have the rollover in Knoxville. They get it back. It's quicker and faster. Like, just go ahead and throw it off the cliff and bring it back out. And it'd be the quickest and fastest thing out there, and nobody would ever touch it. But, no, they should certainly get the most Tenacious award, I think, out of all the groups out there. Chase, his brother, Scotty, everyone involved, that USA 1 team, well, they certainly were and showed and are number one at the end of the year here in 2025 in AGAS, and was able to put the cherry on top, go out there and get a win in SEGA competition at the championship finals. Also, just want to throw out there again that Gabriel Burrell comes out of nowhere and qualifies number one and goes to a final.
Yeah.
Like, dang.
Yeah.
That guy knows his way down a lot of racetracks. He's a two-time world champion for a reason. I think, if I'm not mistaken, and I'll put an asterisk beside it because I don't know, maybe a sponsor decided to step away, making it more difficult for him to race. But hey, when you can come a few miles down the road to Shadyside, freshen your stuff up over at your cousin Quayne Stott's place, probably. I'm just guessing that. He's not going to forget how to drive that car. It was set up well. And he was bumping a record too.
Yeah. It was cool to see Heath Adams win as well. I believe he was the first-time winner.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that was really cool to see. And they really had that thing going all day long. It was two in the finals that would have been a first-time winner. So that was really, really cool to see. And shout out to him to come out there at Shadyside and be a South Carolina native and get the dub right there near his hometown.
Yeah, and I didn't really realize, I guess, so many times when I went up to interview Heath, he's a mountain of a man. I mean, he is no small gentleman. And, he doesn't have the Chevy 2, the little, or one of these little cars. He got a 53 Chevy.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he cut a 008 light on, I think, in the semifinals. And just he was on his game all day. But, those guys have been creeping up on a win for the last 4 or 5 races. They did well down in Gulfport, come up short. But, they've been creeping up on it in final vindication there at the finals at Shadyside.
And in that final, Tony Tachenhorse, they have got that car with Ross engine power under the hood going right. And, that category, man, I can't help but look at that category and the championship finals and really wish, man, I wish we had another white race. Like, who would win? Who would be the top competitors? I can't wait to get to 2026. I think we got some different players in that category going into 2026.
I think you're right, Lee. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. We got a little view that Brad Wimberly was going to go to B-Gas here tonight from his brother Todd. But, it's going to be interesting to keep up with the changes and the reason for the changes. I know John McLaughlin is going to go out of B-Gas in his disorderly conduct 48 Anglia. He's going to move back to C. I do know that. That's a change that's coming. And I think a good one because the C-Gas combination will really fit that 48 Anglia a little better than the B-Gas.
Yeah, we've got some changes, and it's going to be interesting who will slot where. And again, we've already seen some people raise their level of competition within the Southeast Gassers Association, and then rolling back into competition in 2026. I think we're going to have some very interesting storylines, and Heath Adams is someone, we need to have our eye on in 2026. A beautiful machine. I love the theme. The color's right. Rusty Bullet. I mean, it just makes a lot of sense. It's a great car. It photographs really well, especially in golden hour. He's got a neat hot rod. And I think it's another Alan Pittman piece. And, I mean, they're putting out some great Southeast Gasser Association rides. I mean, obviously, Pittman and Sword Willis, just a beautiful machine.
Yeah.
And it was good to see them there at Shadyside. And credit to Alan Pittman. It wasn't that long ago he was entering Southeast Gassers Association competition and going out round 1. They're not going out round 1 anymore. They are going rounds. And he hasn't got that win yet, but I think that's around the corner. They're starting to figure it out.
And he knows how to do it. I mean, this guy's a former pro modified world champion. I mean, we're not talking about a guy that doesn't have a pedigree here.
Yeah.
You know, and that's, I don't say this with arrogance, but there's some people that have come into the Southeast Masters going, hey, I'm here, and I got this, and I got that, and I got this. But they can't get it to the other end of the racetrack. You know, they can't punch their ticket and get the big gold cup like we saw Todd Wimberly with 6 of them from this year on his, hood of his car. They can't even get one, and they've got all the money, they got all the power, they got all this. They can't get it to the racetrack. They can't adapt to the shot packages because it's not go up there, point and shoot and let off of a button. It's not that.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people have learned the hard way. And Ben Christopher always likes to say, come on in, the water's warm. And in a way, we kind of poke fun at people who come in with their chest stuck out thinking, I'm going to go over here and roll over these old hillbilly boys down here in the Southeast. And you're not going to roll over these guys. They putting in the work.
Yeah, they really are. And it really just is a testament to what we have here. It is, you can throw all the money at it you want to, but there's a lot of know-how. There's a lot of, being able to get that combination of the car from weight transfer and all of that right to get that thing down to the other end. And you really, these guys and girls are driving these things. That there ain't no pressing buttons to shift. Ain't none of that. It's clutch and jamming gears, true gear jamming, door slamming. So you got to have it all, man. And money is not the only thing that is you're not gonna buy a win over here. That's just to say that.
Yeah, you're not doing that. You're not doing that for sure. Well, we had Todd Wimberly on earlier. He's the champion in AFX. He also won the championship finals there at Shadyside. As we mentioned, Ken Rainwater there in B-Gas champion. He won the championship finals as well. You have Chase Howard, the A-Gas champion and winner of the championship finals. We mentioned Heath Adams there in C-Gas. He's the only non-champion to win.
Yeah.
Everyone else wrapped it up at the championship finals, like in their class for the race of the championship finals. And we'll bring this picture up of Mr. Dominator, Jerry Dean. What a phenomenal season they had. If it wasn't for a, as he put it, mechanical gremlin in the final round at Brainerd for the Southern Nationals, he effectively would have had a perfect season. Amazing.
It really is. And credit goes to his whole crew. And I mean, he's got a hold of the wheel, but I'm in awe of Karen Mitchell.
Yes.
There is no doubt I would love to be able to pick her brain, but I'm sure she could talk so far over my head that it would confuse me in 5 minutes. Her knowledge and her work ethic is just second to none. And, she did tell me that she's been doing this since she was a kid because her dad raced these types of cars back in the 70s and, with a gear stick, and he knows how to get it done. She really does.
Yeah. I mean, put on a clinic this year, literally. And that's impressive. And what they did this year was absolutely impressive. And, all you could do is sit back and smile at what they were able to put together here in 2025.
Yes, and look, I want to say this. Credit to the competitors in Superstock. They knew what they were going up against each and every race, but I didn't hear a bunch of whining and complaining about who they were competing against. They went out there and they tried to improve their stuff. You don't see Bryant Dalton Sr. complaining. You don't see Rob Walden complaining. You don't see the other competitors going out there and complaining. They're going out there and still having fun. And yes, they want to win. Rob Walden did pick up a win. And Bryant Dalton Sr. made several finals. To his credit, he's able to finish second in the point standings. So they really showcased as a group what you should be doing, and I don't think success should be. I don't think success. I don't even think domination, such as what Jerry Dean put on, should be. I don't want to say necessarily downplayed. I don't think people should chide against it. I think in a lot of ways, even as Americans, we love an underdog. And we love when the underdog wins. And when someone gets out there and they start dominating, very few people are liked after they dominate. You know, one of the few examples of someone that dominated that has remained loved would be like John Force. But people didn't like Dale Earnhardt. You know, people didn't like Jeff Gordon. People they don't like Greg Anderson. You know, so on, so on, so on.
Yep.
And I think it should be celebrated, honestly. Jerry Dean, Karen Mitchell, and the team did something that's rare and special and had a near perfect season. And that should be celebrated. When a pitcher has a perfect game, we celebrate that.
Right.
These people had nearly a perfect season. It should be celebrated. And I got to hand it to the competitors in Superstock. I don't hear them complaining. They go out there, they run their stuff, they want to improve their stuff. They want to beat Jerry at his best because that means they came to his level.
Right.
That's the way it should be done.
Indeed.
I couldn't agree with you more, Lee. That is so well said.
Yes.
And we evidenced that this year. So well said.
That's the way it should be done.
Yep.
So, rise to the top and learn how to form the top. And in the championship finals, Larry Noel and the beautiful Crazy Pony comes away with the win in H-Gas. And he comes away atop of the points lead in H-Gas as well. Beautiful hot rod. And to Larry and all the competitors of H-Gas that showed up, that race, and stuck it out, thank you for your participation. Thank you for racing the Southeast Gassers Association in a great class that I hope we continue to see build and grow in SEGA drag racing.
Yeah, me too.
This has the makings of a great class. It's a little more economical, you know, if there is such a word in drag racing. But this has the makings of a great class. It's such a move from the ordinary for us that it makes it intrinsically cool. It just really does.
Yeah. This class makes me want to have a Volkswagen and bring it out to race it. You know, it's really cool to see all the different cars out there, and you know, it's different. It's different, and I think that that difference in surrounding the other classes, it stands out too. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what transpires next year. But that was a fun class to watch this year.
Absolutely was. Well, folks, again, your champions. David, we're going to let you give the rundown of the champions per category. Share them with us, starting with A-Gas.
A-Gas Chase Howard out of Greer, South Carolina, in his 1967 Chevy Chevelle, the USA 1, Gene Fulton Power Plant. He took our A-Gas category this year in just a heated race, but you know, like we mentioned before, those guys did a great job of coming through in the clutch. We're going to have him coming up in a couple of weeks, maybe. John Kelly asked where he was. We can't get all the champions in one night, but we're going to get them all on here eventually. And in B-Gas, we had Ken Rainwater out of Kimberly, Alabama, in his Chevy 2, the Renegade. One-Way Technologies providing a lot of head support right there. For those guys, they were relentless this year as well. And as we mentioned earlier, just took the finals by storm and setting a new elapsed time record. And then C-Gas, Jaron Purdue with the 62 Chevy 2 Nova wagon. He's out of Peebles, Ohio. What a job. That Fulton motor performed so well, that small block. And, folks, he would put that thing up about 10.5 and he'd sidestep the clutch. It was a beautiful thing to hear, and the car performed well for him all year, did a great job driving. He actually put that C-Gas points title away early on. Then when we go to Superstock, just the aforementioned Jerry Dean, dominating year again, back-to-back championships for him in 24 and 25. And then we move into AFX with Todd Wimberly, who was our guest tonight in the Southern Comfort, the Falcon out of the Atlanta, Georgia area. So he takes the win there in our points championship. And then Larry Noel in H Gas with the crazy pony that you just saw that beautiful shot of, that he put in the winner's circle down at Gulfport Dragway and at Shadyside to capture the H Gas title.
Well, we're going to continue to talk here on SEGA Live as the weeks do come around. Yes, Chase Howard got him scheduled for next week on Wednesday. After that, I think we've got Ken Rainwater scheduled, and we'll continue to talk with our champions and others here on SEGA Live as we'll continue the Southeast Gassers Association conversation all the way through the end of 2025 and into 2026. It was a great championship finals. It was a spectacular season. And, folks are asking, when is the 2026 schedule going to come out? Well, we had Leslie Horn on last night with the Competition Plus Power Hour, and he said it's very soon. So it's also a schedule that I think it's going to excite some people.
Yeah, from what I hear, I think it is going to excite some people. I hope it excites a lot of the racers as well, and we can get a little bit more participation. I think the schedule is going to favor that and help those racers out.
I think it is, but hey, I can go ahead and tell you, we can let this cat out of the bag. We're going back to Gulfport, Mississippi.
That's right.
We're going to do the Friday to Saturday race again down there.
Yeah.
Folks, go ahead, make your plans, get your hotel rooms, or I tell you what, even better than that, if you've got a camper or a motor home or a motor coach, or you just like tent camping, stay on the property at Gulfport Dragway.
Right.
They've got the amenities for all of that. But we're going back down there during cruising the coast. Just go ahead and book your vacation for the fall that week. Do it. And
absolutely.
It'll be cruising the coast time again down there before we know it.
Absolutely. And, you're saying that to the fans. And let me say, racers, start doing your marketing now. Get on the horn and say, this is the biggest Southeast Gassers Association event of the year. We've got 2 races. Partner with me. Put your name on the car, and let's go to Gulfport. Start working on it now. Don't work on it a month ahead of time. Work on it now.
This is a historical year for them as well, I believe. I don't think it's I think they said 30 years or something like that, but I believe there's some big history marked here for the Cruising the Coast as well. So, definitely don't want to miss this one.
And folks, we've had numbers reported to us of close to 5,000 spectators were at our event down at Cruising the Coast. And I don't know what the online numbers were, but I was looking at them and they were well above 500. I think, in the 650 range was a steady flow watching the live stream. So marketing partners' names will get out there. I don't mind mentioning marketing partners for cars. I want to do that as I announce drag races. So let's do that, and let's get some more cars down there. That's for sure.
Absolutely. The fans there at Gulfport deserve it. I think Gulfport Dragway deserves it. You don't have to have 100 cars to have a spectacular show. We had a spectacular show without 100 cars. But nonetheless, people want to see some good racing. They want to see more of it. And you as racers, and stop looking at it as, oh, that's so far. Look at it as this is a special opportunity, because it is that. I can tell you, there's not a lot of racing outfits that get the opportunity to be treated on the level that Gulfport Dragway is treating the Southeast Gassers Association.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to name of events and name of series, but when you are participating in the Southeast Gassers Association, it might be easy to think you're at the top. And in so many ways, you are the premier gasser outfit in the world. But realize that that is rare. and realize how special that is, and in turn realize and put importance on who is treating you special, because not everybody gets that in the world of drag racing or motorsports. For a team like Gulfport Dragway to say, we're going to do it 2 days, we're going to help you come in and park early, we're going to possibly give tow money, we're going to do this and do that, and we're going to promote it. And they were one of the tracks that promote. They put the work in, and there was a spectacular show. That's not the case everywhere you go. That's not the case for every series. That's not the case for every track. You're getting the special treatment at Gulfport. So make the effort.
Definitely.
The radio ads were incredible. I know you guys, we all talked about that in our little meeting we had. The radio ads were incredible. The way that they put feet on the ground out there handing out flyers and everything at Cruising the Coast, and all the car shows and all the things prior to Cruising the Coast. I mean, they went all out, and that's why they get the numbers that they have going through the gate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Most definitely.
Backed up to the road, double file. It was wild. It was so good to see.
For hours.
Yes.
For hours.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Dugenay, you are right. It is the 30th anniversary for Cruising the Coast. So it's big for Cruising the Coast. It's going to be big for the Southeast Gassers Association because, no, David, it's the 4th time we'll be visiting. Is that correct?
Yes, it will be
fourth time. So we're one short of that nice 5 number, but nonetheless, it's going to be a big show.
I was at a new job and I did no announcing in 23. So, yes, this will be my 3rd year down there. So, yes, this will be the 5th time.
Awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, look, thank you for joining in on SEGA Live. Again, we're going to continue it. Be sure to subscribe to the Southeast Gassers Association YouTube channel. Make sure you're following the Facebook page and the Instagram page. Steven's got TikTok set up for Southeast Gassers Association, all the major platforms, and you will be able to stay in tune with all things SEGA. For David Lancaster down there on the bottom, the voice of the Southeast Gassers Association, and over there next to me, that way, Dugenay Bland, I'm Lee Kraft. This has been SEGA Live. Until next time, God bless. Keep the pedal to the metal.